What do you genuinely not understand? How people get up in the morning feeling good and refreshed. I have woken up tired since before I can remember. I don't understand if they just mentally power through the tired, or if they feel something I don't''t/can't. Why people when you're driving have the audacity to pull out in front of you and then drive slow as when there are literally no other cars around, like just wait for me to pass if you're going to go 5 to 10 miles per hour under the speed limit. How some people seem to get through life without a job, with no responsibility, no money, and they're totally fine. Meanwhile, I'm busting my ass trying to make a living for myself and my family and struggling like hell. Why the hiring process at most companies is so damn slow. Back in the 60s, you could walk into a business asking about a job on Friday and start work the following Monday. Now, despite having access to tons of information about a candidate on the internet, it takes 6 or more weeks in many cases. How people are capable of learning activities that require repetition to get better at, like art. I seem to never develop any muscle memory at all, and even without that issue there's still the problem of not having a structured, trivial to follow path to follow, without which I never really remember anything. Why it's so damn hard to be happy 95% of the time when you have a stable job, good health, family and everything. Like, I have all of the pieces but something is constantly missing. Ugh. Side note, I'm fine, it's just annoying. Edit. Thank you for all of the awards and kind words. Be kind to each other. Quantum physics, but mostly how there could ever be a smallest thing, like everything is made up of something else. Zooming down, how could there be something that's not made up of smaller parts, like string theory, right? Smallest thing is supposed to be vibrating strings of energy, like what is that energy made of? I don't get it. After waiting in a long line to check out, why is it that people don't have their money ready? They get to the register and have to search for a credit card or look for coupons. All that time in line they could have had it organized and ready to go. I've played music for 20+ years and music theory just goes over my head. I know my major, minor scales, I know my chord structures, but putting it all together escapes me. I have people tell me my songs are cool or that they love how the chord pattern works backwards to the root and I'm just like, yeah, I don't know, I just wrote it. Shrug. How people can be so hateful and for no reason. Like, I'm literally studying psychology and it's at the point where I genuinely can't explain why some people are just nicer and more understanding of others. Everything I've learned has only made the answer harder, more complex, and ironically enough more vague. If you told me breaking news, humanity is really split into 2 species and the deciding genetic factor is the ability to show empathy for people not like you, I'd believe it in a heartbeat. Fighting is fundamentally stupid. Intra-species competition is universally harmful for every member of that species in the long run when resources aren't scarce, yet our species loves to create its own problems. Ridiculous. Dancing. People say, just do what your body tells you to do, but my body doesn't tell me to do anything. I see people doing dance moves and I wonder how they figured out how to do them. Do they make them up? Do they observe others? Does somebody teach them? Or is there a manual I don't know about? I also don't get the point of dancing. Some say it's to express themselves, but I see people dance and I don't get what they are expressing with their body wiggles. I see flailing and convulsing, but what exactly is the point you're expressing? And then I don't get the purpose of dancing, especially professionally. You dance for a few minutes and then it's done. What was the point of that? Like, if you play a song, I can hum it to myself wherever I am, I can hear it on the radio, and I can use it as background ambience when I'm doing household chores. But dancing, for it to be appreciated, I'd have to be staring directly at the dancer at the moment of their performance, and after that I'm going to forget about it entirely because it's effectively gone. Lastly, I don't get dancing as a mating ritual. My dad, an avid dancer, he had copped and would, at age 80, go dancing with his oxygen tank in tow, take a hit from the tank, go out on the dance floor, repeat. Told me that if I wanted to be in a relationship, I'd have to learn to dance. I think comedian Stephen Wright was the one who said, dancing is the vertical expression of a horizontal desire, but ... why? What about men looking awkward makes women think they're worth getting to know, as if my dancing somehow encapsulates all my experiences, knowledge, and my very being. I genuinely don't get it. Why do I exist? Am I the only one here with an actual soul? If another person with the soul reads this, will they ask if I'm made to ask this question and then they never hear about me again? Do destinies exist? Is it my destiny to ask this question? Am I really the one without the soul? How someone doesn't understand that they're in everyone's way. People who just stop in their tracks with absolutely zero consideration of other people who have their own destinations and/or business. What's worse, when someone notices that someone else passes them and is all rude about it. What, are ya in a hurry? What if I am? Motherfucker, you're not in charge of setting everyone else's pace. I have a very fast regular walk. Due to my impatience and long legs, I tend to get to where I'm going quickly when human cattle are just moseying along, going with the flow of people, unless we're in line to something, mind you, and have zero regard for anyone else. I get antsy. I need to move along, because the glacial pace of a herd of people does not cut it with me. Worse is when people feel the need to block aisles in a store with their conversations, each having a cart, creating a huge jam while people line up behind them. Worse yet is when someone driving sees someone they know so they stop to talk to them. Fuck you. This isn't chat time. Say hi, honk your horn, and keep it moving. I don't care that you're retired and have literally all day to do what you're doing. Some of us only have a couple precious days off, so we have to get our shit done in a short time span. It shouldn't affect me in any way that you want to talk to your VFW buddy. How some people just don't like to try new food. My stepdad likes maybe 6 things to eat. I have about 6 things I don't like to eat. I just don't get it. Edit. I hope I didn't offend anyone. I meant only that I will never understand if someone is picky for any reason. I don't mean that I despise it. It's just, like, a really picky eater would never understand my love for food. When I cook, you can see me as one of those mad scientists who screams "IT's alive." Boo ha 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 ha. People's lack of understanding of people. Like, even when I don't like someone or their beliefs, it's not hard to understand why they believe them even if they're wrong. So many people can't see things through other people's perspectives, and I just find it weird. Not saying I'm special, in fact I'm saying the opposite. It should be common sense. Why people become so obsessed with the lives and things that others do that don't affect them in any way. Like, let people be and stay out of their lives. What I do in private is of no concern to anyone and vice versa. Investing, stocks, interest rates, etc. Why/how money grows in general. Edit. Thanks for all the offers of help, but I don't think I can explain clearly what I mean exactly. What I don't understand is why it all works this way in a more abstract sense, not necessarily the math of how it works. Like, why are there so many different types of funds with different rules and different returns? What determines interest rates? Why is there interest in the first place, etc.? It all seems completely arbitrary. I don't understand why people donate to streamers on Twitch, especially the big ones. I understand subbing because you like the content and want it to keep happening, so $5 a month isn't too bad. After that I feel like you have done your bit. I'm not sure why people are paying 20 quid to have XQC or Corpse read it and go, hey dude, that's for saying that and thanks for the 20 bucks. To make things worse, most of these guys are a good bit richer than their audience members. We all laughed at the people who donated to the Kardashian to try and make her a millionaire, and yet ask these gamer brothers whom heal money at people worth more money than your entire house behind in. How people are able to handle their parents divorcing. I've seen people go through this in real life and in movies, shows, and they always seem to push through it pretty easily. But if my parents divorced, it would genuinely crush me. Most forms of cultural appropriation. As a black male, I don't understand how anyone within the black community could be offended that someone else likes our natural hairstyles, clothing choices enough to want to wear them themselves. For example, people that don't like the look of dreadlocks, box braids, aren't typically going to have a different opinion on them just because they are on a white person versus black person. I just have never seen the harm in cases like this, and it's always such a hot topic. Vehemently supporting pop, sometimes to the extent that if one of the stars does something a fan doesn't like, they'll go out of their way to cyberbully them. And besides, the industry is clearly full of abuse, yet some will fight a war just so they can like pop. In my opinion, if you have to convince yourself you like something, just because you feel the need to like it, because others don't or are exposing the terrible behind the scenes, then do you really like it? Is it really just about the music anymore? Some of the songs are okay, but pop as an industry is evil. 21. As a nurse, why people think it's normal or okay to treat us like crap. I understand you're sick or feeling cruddy, but your rice chips can wait. Ma'am, I'm coding someone next door. Give me a second. Lower your voice. Calm your tits. Positivity-induced suicide. It's one of the strangest things I've come across. How is a person so happy with their life that they off themselves? And it's not in just elders either. There was a 17-year-old who a bit ago jumped out of her mother's apartment window with her note saying along the lines of, "I know you loved me, Mom, and I'm fine with how you and Dad split. Thank you for all you've given me. I love you too. I was just finished with all I wanted to do in life. I'll see you on the other side." How? There's so many things you can do in life, and you feel done at 17? I really wish I was as content with my situation, just not that far as to decide, okay, done with Earth, bye-bye. It's mind-boggling. Positivity-induced suicide. It's one of the strangest things I've come across. How is a person so happy with their life that they off themselves? And it's not in just elders either. There was a 17-year-old who a bit ago jumped out of her mother's apartment window with her note saying along the lines of, "I know you loved me, Mom, and I'm fine with how you and Dad split. Thank you for all you've given me. I love you too. I was just finished with all I wanted to do in life. I'll see you on the other side." How? There's so many things you can do in life, and you feel done at 17? I really wish I was as content with my situation, just not that far as to decide, okay, done with Earth, bye-bye. It's mind-boggling. Relationships. I've never really understood them and why people get into one if they are only going to end painfully. Granted, I've only been in one actual relationship and it was abusive, but I don't have much of a basis to go off of. Anti-maskers. I'm not just saying that to shit on them, like I truly don't understand. I can see where anti-vaxxers are coming from even though they're still stupid. But anti-maskers just baffle me. Edit: when I say anti-maskers, I mean more specifically the ones that just kinda decide on their own without propaganda that masks are bad. I was thinking of a specific person at my school who wears a see-through mesh mask. People who fetishize or outright worship politicians here in the USA, on either side of the aisle. I take great comfort from knowing that politicians in DC on both sides of the aisle have at least one thing in common: they don't give a rat's dollar about any of us, unless we are giving them large sums of money, of course. What people get out of religion: why go to church, avoid certain types of food, perform rituals on babies, avoid birth control. Why? 'Cause someone said there is a man in the sky who doesn't like those things. Also, magnets. How do they work? Why I shouldn't wait for Pfizer or Moderna if I am self-isolating. They have a 95–94% effectiveness rating compared to AstraZeneca, which is 60%. I don't go out at all except for very short stints 3 times every 2 weeks to the grocery store, where I do my best to maintain a 6-foot distance from others. I'm not a frontline worker. If I take his, it's not like I can switch over to Pfizer. So I don't get why waiting isn't the better play. I don't understand why it is socially unacceptable for me, a white guy, to dress up for Halloween as B.A. Burkus from the A-Team, but it's perfectly fine for me to paint my face white as part of a Count Dracula costume. I understand why white actors in blackface using exaggerated racial stereotypes, as was common in the first half of the 20th century, is demeaning and dehumanizing, but why is any white person portraying a black person in any way for any reason suddenly taboo? Non-binary gender identity. I had someone say that they don't identify as male or female, just as a person, but used she, they pronouns. Doesn't she usually denote female or woman? I know we all try to move away from societal expectations nowadays, but people who identify as non-binary just not like their particular society's perception of gender norms and identity. I also seen someone who identified as a trans non-binary woman and used she, her pronouns. Does trans not mean that you are transitioning from one defined gender, male in this case, to another, female? Why use gendered pronouns if you identify as neither or both? I'm not trying to be rude or anything. I've been trying to do research and I still don't get it. I've tried asking people of this identity and basically get told they don't owe me anything, which, totally true. They don't owe me an explanation of their identity, and I can get why it's tiring to always get asked. I just don't really understand it is all, and I'd like to, I guess. Low and middle class people supporting the GOP who only supports the 1% and big corporations. It seems ironic when Dems just want to tax the rich and the corpos to give everyone free healthcare and support the low and middle classes. Why shoot yourselves in the foot like that? How people get offended on behalf of other races that actually don't give a shit, like Speedy Gonzalez got cancelled on Twitter because it was offensive to Mexicans, but the voice actor, not Mel Blanc, in the newer Space Jam movie was Mexican himself. He even told the Twitter cancel culture, "You can't catch me. I'm the fastest mouse in Mexico. I am also Latino BTW and we love Speedy Gonzalez." The stock market. Why do we have a system where the profits from a company always go up the chain to shareholders instead of going to workers? And why do we have laws saying that companies have to make as much profit as they can in order to keep shareholders making more money? Anyone still believing in Kanoan/WWG1 nonsense? It was a 20-something porn-addicted troll who ran the 8chan board. He is not a golf insider. It is not a group of Trumpanzee confidants. It is not JFK Jr. WTF? Why are people still following anyone talking about Q? saying follow the plan etc. I didn't get it in the beginning and I sure as hell don't get it now. Homophobia, transphobia, we are just trying to live our lives, it literally does not affect you at all. Why the fuck you care who we want or don't want to fuck? It doesn't make any sense. People are just looking for a reason to complain at this point. How you can hate someone who is of no harm to you so much that you would want to cause physical harm or kill them, all this simply because of something they have no control over: race, gender, sexuality, religion, etc. Like, I really have a hard time understanding why these things cause so much rage in people.